Welcome back to Message Crawler Video Manual. In this chapter, I'm going to answer frequently asked questions about attachments. Let's talk about attachments. So when you load data into Message Crawler, you'll see there's usually a field that's all the way on the right called attachment path. And one of the questions comes up, how does Message Crawler treat this attachment path? And it can do it in both ways. It could be a relative path or an absolute path. So if you open in a DAT file, Message Crawler will remember where the DAT file was open. And if the path inside of that file is relative to where that file is located, it will be able to find that attachment. If, however, you choose to put a complete path with a drive letter or a UNC path, it will work as well. So both paths are completely acceptable for Message Crawler. Now the next question comes up, it deals with downloading of attachments. Some tools like Slack, Trillian, and a couple of others have a feature that you can use to download attachments. So when you receive this data, when you receive JSON files or XML files, that data doesn't have attachments included with it. It does contain a hyperlink to the internet, and Message Crawler can follow that hyperlink, download that file, identify content of the file, whether it's a JPEG, GIF, PNG, so like a simple image identification, and then save it to a folder and then point to it in order to grab that attachment and save it into an RSMF file. And one of the questions that comes up, well, first, how does it know to get into a system like Slack to get behind somebody's firewall and grab the attachment? Well, the URL inside actually contains like a token ID. And as long as you have that token, you are able to download that attachment. It's not the most secure way of doing things, but that's how they have it implemented. So if you open the JSON file in Slack and you find a private URL download link, you'll see a token at the end. So I'm guessing that's how it knows that it's okay for the user to grab that attachment. The next thing people ask is, I am getting errors downloading attachments. Is that a problem? And the way I usually answer it is, it depends on percentage. Whenever you download attachments, you're rarely going to get all of them. The reason is files get deleted, right? Somebody may have sent an attachment and then they deleted it. Maybe something expired, something got archived. Sometimes in a Google situation where if the two users were friends but they're not friends anymore, well, you don't know the other person's name and you may not be able to access some of the content. So things disconnect, break, get deleted over time. And that's why you should use application like Message Crawler to take the export from Facebook or from wherever, download all the attachments and preserve it. Don't just hold on to like JSON files from Slack. They don't have everything. You need to grab all the data right away and save it. So back to original question. If you get few attachments that are missing, like 5, 10, 50, maybe like 1% to 2%, then I would say it's okay. That's normal. However, if you have like 50% of the attachments are missing or more, well, then there may be a problem. Maybe your internet connection keeps going in and out. Maybe there's certain permissions on the server that doesn't allow you to download it. Then it needs to be further investigated. One other interesting anomaly happens with downloading attachments, and it happens in rare cases, is sometimes the error message from downloading gets returned to the user as a file, as like an HTML file. And the way Message Crawler sees it, as if the server returned an actual file, and it doesn't know the difference between the error message and the HTML error that was returned by server. So it just takes it like, oh, I got a file, and it saves it to a folder. So one of the checks you can do is look at your native files, look at your attachments, and make sure they're not all the same size. So one of the feedbacks I received from some clients is they say, yes, I understand we can't get all the attachments. Sometimes there could be missing. However, what we want to do is make sure person who is reviewing these text messages knows that attachment was there and it is missing now for some reason. And the way to handle it is I added a checkbox that says include path with no native. So what will happen is message crawler will include a placeholder inside our SMF file for the attachment, but the attachment will be missing. This technically violates our SMF file format specifications, and you will get an error message at the export saying file failed validation, because validation happens by code written by Relativity. They basically give me or give developers a DLL and say, run all your files through this to confirm they're good. So by checking this checkbox, include path with no native, they will fail that validation. However, you can still load that data to Relativity, and once it loads, you will see on the screen that there is a missing attachment because there'll be a red box saying attachment not found. So that was a preferred way for some people to let reviewers know that attachment was there, but it is no longer there. Just keep it, again, you can use it, but keep in mind it doesn't fully meet the specifications of our SMF file format. All right, that's it for this chapter of Message Crawler Video Manual. Hopefully that answers any questions you had about attachments. If you have any more questions, please contact me, Nick@#legal, and I will see you in the next chapter of Message Crawler Video Manual.